Written by Marianna Cerini, CNNIn. In a black and white photo from the 1950s, singer and actress Eartha Kitt is seen dressed in head-to-toe leopard print. She looks defiant and self-assured, while, next to her, a cheetah sits nonchalantly on a leash. It is an iconic photo. It is also one of the images that, 3 decades ago, inspired burlesque dancer Jo Weldon to start researching the story and legacy of leopard print. Her findings have been brought together in a new book, Fierce, The History of Leopard Print, in which Weldon charts the origins, evolution and changing status of one of fashion's most ubiquitous patterns. Kitt was a starting point, as I was deeply fascinated by her as a child, Weldon said in a phone interview. She looked fabulous in her prints, a strong figure. But she was also a woman of substance. To me, the spots tied both aspects together. 1/18 Rosalind Russell wears a silk Galanos gown in a promotional shot for "Oh Dad, Poor Dad, Mama's Hung You in the Closet and I'm Feelin' So Sad" in 1967. Credit, courtesy Everett Collection. Leopard motifs, and feline imagery in general, have been used to signify power, independence and confidence for centuries. According to Weldon, leopards have long been seen as fierce, very resilient animals, she said. I think people feel a primordial connection with them. Historically, leopards have played a prominent role in iconographies around the world. The seated woman of Catalhoyuk, a clay figurine dating back to around 6000 BC, shows a female figure resting her arm on a leopard. An Egyptian stele shows Nefertibet, an ancient Egyptian princess wearing a leopard down. Credit, courtesy Everett Collections. A shot, the Egyptian goddess of wisdom, is often pictured wearing a leopard or cheetah hide. And goddess Shi Wangmu, known as the Queen Mother of the West in Chinese mythology, is depicted with the teeth of a tiger and the tail of a leopard. During the 18th and 19th centuries, leopard fur and clothes came to signify wealth and status, Weldon said. You enter the 20th century and the start of mass-produced fabrics and garments. The print entered the mainstream, and began having modern significance. An evolving trend. Leopard print's reputation has gone through a number of iterations since. It has been deemed lowbrow, provocative, tacky and dangerous. It has been worn by starlets, and associated with cheap clothing. In pop culture, from movies to music, leopard-clad women have been identified as mean, shallow and loose, which Weldon points out through a series of chapters titled The Trophy Wife, The Bad Mother, and The Femme Fatale. Jo Weldon wears a leopard dress for a promotional shoot in 2015. Credit, Bettina Myatt. The motif has also been embraced by the upper echelons of fashion. Christian Dior is credited as the first designer to put leopard print, rather than fur, on the runway in 1947. Style icons like Josephine Baker, Elizabeth Taylor, Jackie Kennedy and Edie Sedgwick all wore the pattern. In recent decades, Beyoncé has publicly sported leopard print, as have Anna Wintour and Michelle Obama. And, season after season, fashion magazines hail the return of leopard on designer catwalks. From Balmain to Armani, Cavalli to Givenchy, leopard print has swayed in so many different directions because it's open to interpretations, Weldon said. It can be seen as a neutral that looks great next to bolder colors, but it can also perfectly stand out on its own. Escorted by President Kennedy, Jacqueline Kennedy departs for a trip to India and Pakistan wearing an Oleg Cassini leopard skin coat in 1962. Credit, courtesy Everett Collection. Our appreciation of it also goes back to our relationship with the animal. We admire it and fear it. We find it irresistible, yet we know it's dangerous. Felines evoke nocturnal activities and playfulness. All of that goes into the print and, by association, to the woman who wears it. These dichotomies may explain leopard print's endurance in the public imagination, as well as its ongoing popularity among diverse segments of consumers. Weldon believes the ever-evolving trend is, today, as relevant as ever. Beyoncé, wearing a leopard dress, performs for ABC Good Morning in Times Square, New York in 2006. Credit, courtesy Everett Collection. In all its forms, sophisticated, luxe, rebellious, sexy, the leopard print makes a statement. It can't be ignored, whether you like it or loathe it. That's why it's still so prominent in mainstream culture, at a time when women are being pulled in different directions, and are trying to define and affirm what it means to be a strong woman. The pattern feels relevant. It says, "I want to be seen, fierce." The History of Leopard print, published by HarperCollins, is available now.